student or one of the audience members raised, how many people actually invest that time even outside of the organization? So within the organization today, I believe, is a challenge. Subrat, would you agree? In what you've experienced as people that had the ability to mentor, and I'm just using e-learning as an analogy, that comes in the way of building this particular skill in people.
See, what the platform is doing really is making it accessible and self-paced, and which is extremely critical in the work environment. And particularly the business I represent, and I've spent last 15, 20 years in IT, where the workforce is global, mobile, different age group, different segments, different learning needs. And at times it could be, the need could be the unit of need planning could be as small as an individual, and at a time it could be organization. So you need that platform to have that agility to deliver the content. If you go back and see that how much of that learning which is getting delivered through a e-medium today was getting delivered by manager, I don't think that is a right comparison. I absolutely 100% agree to you that the definition of manager as a manager and manager as a coach, whether that is relevant, that is as relevant today, perhaps more relevant than it has ever
Absolutely.
been. Because the complexity of the workplace is so much more. So, I just wanted to kind of separate out the two. One adds what I tell you, tremendous capability to HR in terms of reach and speed of execution. The other part was always relevant, and it will always find. So we have to find out more means of doing that. And some of the ways in my personal experience I've seen working very well is to create more opportunities of action learning, kind of to back the theoretical content with the action learning program, which is facilitated by a manager.
So let me raise another question. Has the interface between the HR department and the people of an organization reduced in terms of time? And therefore, what is the danger of that reduction in time that has taken place with the advent of technology? How are we mitigating that risk? Vijay?
I genuinely believe in one thing, and that comes maybe more from my IT background, that if you think technology is the root cause of all problems, then either you don't understand technology or you don't understand problems.
Right.
So one of them, or both of them.
Right.
I think any company, especially from HR perspective and other functions, based on my experience, I can tell you that you can take advantage of technology if and only if you back up with good processes and a good people mindset. If you don't have either a good people mindset, either at user end or HR end or any function end, or you don't have good processes, technology will actually help you in creating more problems than solving the problems. And that is happening in a lot of organizations who have put in technology without backing up with good process, without backing up with people. So I put a website, please give me your resumes. I don't have a process in my company where actually those resumes are then sifted, and I get 10,000 resumes. What I get? Okay, I have this, I don't know what to do. My brand image goes down. Similarly, other stuff. So
right.
Till that time you have all the three components, you can't progress.
So as I mentioned, it is a love-hate relationship.
Yes.
And we need to ensure that we love it more than hate it. And by our own admission in the beginning, the HR fraternity needs to understand, appreciate technology a lot more.
Correct. I agree.
And when you start using it in substitute of what was anyway core to why you existed,
correct,
it will become a challenge and a problem within an organization.
I agree.
Second part of our conversation, given the backdrop of analytics, looking at one integrated solution, a lot of software companies being bought over by ERP providers. So Taleo was bought over, SuccessFactors was bought over, and clearly now the ability to provide a integrated platform. Given this backdrop, first I'd like to come to you. What are some of your biggest business needs, and therefore what does it translate to as far as people are concerned? Subrat.
So the biggest challenge as HR professionals is that understanding the business knowledge and correlating that with the needs of the business. That's a very, very important thing.
So what are they? What are your greatest business needs today? You run a recruitment service, you run a e-learning portal.
Right.
What are the biggest needs and what does it translate to in terms of people?
So the biggest challenge that HR folks face is how do I attract talent? Is a challenge what all businesses grapple with.
Right.
And a lot of the technology has been used, and it's a business imperative for companies to use and attract talent. Like for example, there is a lot of talent out there who are not really looking at jobs. Say for example, a lot of the candidates who are on LinkedIn, they are not actively looking for jobs. It's a matter of, do I want people who want me, or do I need people who I want? Is a
Right.
business imperative. So
Right.
the challenge that most of the HR folks or talent acquisition folks are grappling with in terms of the business challenge is that how do I attract the best quality talent to deliver the expected results, what the business expects you to do. So the challenge is always to attract the talent and keep them motivated and keep them deliver the goods.
Amit, in your business, in insurance, a lot is happening, even in Parliament on the floor. In keeping with how the insurance industry has evolved and changed, and it's gone through its ups and downs, and many players have changed their positioning and what they need to focus on, whether it was the affluent category of people or mass, depending upon choices that companies have made. Where are you today in your life cycle as an organization, and what have you articulated as your biggest needs as far as people are concerned?
So two things. One obviously is attracting talent in an industry like ours, where there is this whole revolving door policy. And as I say in insurance, you have 24 players. You can work 1 year in each company. You'd be employed for 24 years.
And not only that, you'd make a lot of money.
You'd make a lot of money. You'd
So
grow in
you
life.
probably get 25% increase every year.
The second point is, like you said, about the facilitation skills, and coming back to our earlier discussion. Yes, they want that input, but I think the place has changed. The forum has shifted from the training room or the learning classroom to a one-on-one discussion where you link and label and show it to me how you add value from your experience.
Right.
I think that shift has happened. So that is obviously there. From our own point, yes, if you personally ask me, I think in technology, apps is the new frontier. For our sales guys, we have apps today to go and do a sale, right? We have apps today where you go to a customer, you make an experience, you just click, you do everything, you download the PAN card, and you tell him in 24 hours we'll get you the policy docket. So we've advanced that as an organization. From an HR standpoint, I think we need to piggyback that whole technology piece and say, wherever you are, at a touch of a button, you can look at a policy, you can send a query, you want to know about your leave, about your entitlements. I think that's the next frontier that we'll have to, in our industry, capture to maintain that employee experience.
Vijay, you can come in here from an IT expert standpoint. Is legacy systems, too many systems, still pen and paper, Excel sheets? How does anyone operate in this chaos? How can you make sense of information when information itself is A, questionable,
Correct.
and B, distributed?
Two things. I think the logic is garbage in, garbage out. So the first step has to be that don't put in garbage, which means that you need to update. So if someone is transferred from location A to location B, system has to be updated. If a person has resigned, you just don't give him an acceptance letter, it should come out of system. If a guy has joined, the thing should come out of system. So the system should be the single source of any output which is given. If that comes,
Is that expensive?
no, not at all.
Not at all.
No.
With the advent of new...
No, why I say not at all is for a different reason. Not because it might cost you $1 million or maybe $100,000, but the key thing is how do you define expensive? To my mind, expensive is return on investment.
Right.
Okay. With respect to the returns that you get, is it expensive? Answer is no. So you have to first look at what is the value you want to drive.
Correct.
If as head of HR, I want to know at any moment as to how many number of people. I know that if you had asked me, I would have just shown you on my mobile phone. It will pick up from some system and a dashboard. And if you ask the same question to one of my team members or of my boss, he will have the same number because there's only one single source of data. Was it expensive? Putting it, number of dollars, yes. Does it give me that value? Perhaps much more than the money that I spent in. So
The
expensive.
technology is getting cheaper every day.
Correct. So to my mind, forget the money that is spent. See the value that it's giving you. If you are getting the entire thing and you don't have to run to 10 people to just find as to how many managers above the age of 32 I have, or between the age of 32 and 33. And you know that at a click of a button you can find out the amount of energy it saves, the amount of frustration it saves, and the action or decision that you can take in next 2 minutes. Think from the value.